The order of the business of the City Council is as follows. The clerk will call the items listed on the agenda. Under public hearing, anyone wishing to speak on an item must first register and sign in at the table located in the lobby. The council shall require any member of the public addressing the council to identify themselves, the name of any organization represented by such person, and their address, unless the address requirement is waived to protect the security of the individual. Each speaker should state whether they are speaking in favor or in opposition to the item. Testimony is limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Anyone wishing to speak on an agenda item should come forward after the clerk reads the item and the applicant has presented. After public comments, the applicant may make one short rebuttal. After all public hearings, the council will vote on resolutions and items listed under third reading. On the second and last Mondays of the month, immediately prior to adjournment, anyone may speak on any issue not on the agenda for that date, nor planned for a future agenda. We ask that all speakers strive for civility and allow for the business of council to proceed unimpeded. Will the clerk please call the first item of business?
Our first item of business today is our consent agenda, sections 1, 2, and sections 3.
Alrighty. Is there anyone here that would like to present on an item on the consent agenda? Welcome, Director.
Good afternoon, council members. Ryan Weber, Director at Lincoln City Libraries, 136 South 14th Street. I'm here to speak about 1A, the appointment of Jeff Yost to the Lincoln City Library Board. In May of this year, the Library Board advertised it for an upcoming board spot for about 3 weeks, and we've received 18 applications from Lincoln residents. They reviewed the applications and recommended Mr. Jeffrey Yost for approval as their candidate of choice at its June 2026 board meeting. The board unanimously agreed and have forwarded their recommendation to City Council for your consideration. He would be replacing Mr. Joe Shaw, who has served since 2019. Jeff is currently the president and CEO of the Nebraska Community Foundation. He has decades of experience connecting people to build stronger communities. He also understands publicly funded organizations from his time in the governor's office before he led the foundation. He spent years serving as an ambassador, an advisor, and an advocate for other boards, including the University of Nebraska President's Advisory Council, the University of Nebraska Medical Center, the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City, and the Council on Foundations. He has expertise in governance, innovation, and growth, and is well connected across Lincoln and the state. Jeff and his family are longtime Lincoln residents and regular users of the library system. He's an avid reader and a strong believer in the library's role as a community hub. For these reasons, I bring forth a recommendation on behalf of the library for City Council approval of Jeffrey Yost to the Library Board for a term ending August of 2033. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Yost, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Lifelong Nebraskan, been in Lincoln since 1986. Married, 3 kids, right? Public schools, public libraries. We've done work with libraries all across the state, and libraries are just a really robust part of community infrastructure and a huge part of our democracy. Looking forward to this opportunity because these are the sorts of institutions that make good communities great.
Absolutely. Any questions from council? Councilman Duden.
I'll just say I appreciate your response to my email and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Councilman.
Any other questions or comments from council? Councilman Beckius?
Mr. Yost, thank you so much for being willing to give your time to the Lincoln City Libraries. I know that your addition will be greatly appreciated, and we're very lucky to have you. So thank you. Appreciate it.
I appreciate the opportunity to serve. Thank you.
Any other discussion from council? Alrighty. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to present? Director Stuckey Ross.
Good afternoon. Maggie Stuckey Ross, Director of Parks and Recreation, 3131 O Street. I am thrilled to be here with someone you all know. I think you've all had a chance to work with Mark. Mark Orr is the mayor's nominee for the Veterans Memorial Garden Advisory Board. Mark is no stranger to this board. He has served our board, and it's actually a family affair. It goes way back before Mark as well. So we're thrilled that he's interested in rejoining our organization for all that he does, both in front and behind the scenes. So I'll let Mark introduce himself.
Well, I'm currently second generation. My dad was on the council and he ran a brick program. I got involved with that and just have kept running it. So now I run the event stuff where I put up the flags with the Rotary Club. I run the brick table to tell everybody about the place. I go out to assorted organizations who want to hear about our programs and just wander the garden occasionally just to tell people what a great place it is. So, and I like to see several of the council members who come to our events. We always appreciate that. The public loves seeing them there. So it really shows that you guys support what we do.
Alrighty, any questions from council or any discussion?
No, just thank you.
Alrighty,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to present on an item on the consent agenda? Is there anyone from the public who would like to come forward to speak on an item on the consent agenda? That would be sections 1, 2, and 3. Seeing no one come forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
We can now vote on these items. Item 1B is appointing Jeff Yost to the Lincoln City Library Board for a term to expire August 31st of 2033, introduced by Duden.
So moved.
Second?
Seconded by Carlson. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Bowers?
Yes.
Carlson?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Duden?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 1B is 1C is appointing Mark Orr to the Veterans Memorial Garden Advisory Board for a term to expire November 1st, 2028, introduced by Duden.
So moved.
I'll second.
Second by Carlson. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Bowers?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Duden?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Carlson?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 1D is reappointing Diane Gonzalez, Steve Kine, and Phil Goddard to the Telecommunication Cable Television Advisory Board for terms to expire July 1st, 2029, introduced by Duden.
So moved.
Second?
Second by Carlson. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Carlson?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Duden?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Items 2A through 2D were introduced by Washington.
So moved.
Second?
Second by Carlson. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Beckius?
Yes.
Carlson?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Duden?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. That concludes the consent agenda. We shall move on to section 4, which is our public hearing and liquor resolutions. I'll call items 4A through 4D together. Item 4A through D is application of Yard Investments LLC doing business as Gate 25 for a special designated license to cover an outdoor area measuring approximately 74 feet by 308 feet at Canopy Street from R Street to Q Street on August 22nd, 2026 from 12 p.m. and 12 a.m., as well as Homegrown Industries Lincoln doing business as Mellow Mushroom, Landshark Realty Group LLC doing business as Tanks Country, and also Landshark Realty Group doing business as The Corner Bar for the same dimensions of 74 feet by 308 feet at Canopy Street from R Street to Q Street on August 22nd, 2026, but from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Alrighty. Are any of the applicants here to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on any of these items? If so, please come forward now. Seeing no one from the public come forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
All right. Seeing no one other discussion, I'm going to move that we pass, that we vote on 4A to 4D.
Second?
Already moved by Washington, seconded by Beckius. Any discussion on the motion to approve items 4A through 4D? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Bowers?
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. That concludes section 4 of our agenda. We'll move on to section 5, public hearing resolutions. I'll call item 5A. Item 5A is amending resolution number A95090, voluntary school and child care lead test and reduction grant program agreement between the Lincoln Lancaster County Health Department and the Nebraska Department of Water, Energy, and Environment for the lead remediation project.
Welcome.
Hi, welcome. Yeah, good afternoon. Welcome myself here. My name is Brock. I'm the Division Manager of Environmental Public Health, Lincoln Lancaster County Health Department. So this is going to be a resolution to approve an amendment to this initial grant contract with Nebraska Department Water, Energy, and Environment, similar to last year. So as we know, in 2027, monitoring of lead in schools and licensed child care facilities is going to become mandatory under the EPA's lead and copper rule improvements. So NDWE, the Nebraska Department of Water, Energy, and Environment, actually has federal assistance through lead and testing reduction grant programs, which are made available to schools and child cares so that they can take care of this now as opposed to after the rule goes into effect. So this resolution would be to extend this agreement of this grant between the City of Lincoln via LLCHD, Lincoln Lancaster County Health Department, and DWE for another year, and also adding approximately another $180,000, not to exceed the $249,000 total for the length of that. So these grant funds will be used to continue the testing and remediation of lead fixtures in schools, primarily the parochial schools is what we're working with, and child care centers throughout Lancaster County. So this is building upon the work we've done with prior funds from the feds back in 2022, where we sampled nearly all 130 child care centers here in the city and the county. And then the baseline metric, or the amount of lead in water, keeps dropping. So now we've been notified a few months ago that under this grant, if there's any detective lead in any of the water fixtures in child care schools or these parochial schools or non-public schools, they're doing their own thing, then we can go in with contractors and actually replace the fixture for the school at no charge to them. And to reduce barriers, we've also brought on a couple of unit price contractors for the city to help out the child care centers that seem to be a perceived barrier at one point, and then they can also choose their own contractor if they wish, but we still have to utilize that and invoices and get that paid and get the fixtures replaced. So in all, to reduce lead exposures in our children. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those for you.
Are there any questions from council? Alrighty, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Seeing no one from the public come forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
I'll call item 5B. Item 5B is amending resolution A91270, Federal Transit Administration Program for Drug and Alcohol Testing, by creating a separate policy and guide which complies with the current federal standards.
Welcome, Director.
Good afternoon, Barb McIntyre, Human Resources, 555 South 10th Street. So this is a resolution to update our drug and alcohol testing policy. We've learned through some audits recently with the FTA and the FMSCA, let me get that out, about some key things they wanted us to update in the policy to strengthen it. So we've done those. The resolution also gives us the ability in the future to make updates to this policy without having to come back in front of you each time as we learn more or regulations change. So that's what's in front of you today.
Alrighty. Are there any questions for Director McIntyre? Councilwoman Washington.
Director, hi, good afternoon. Is there any cost to making these changes?
No, there's no cost to making these changes. It's really about, we have the random drug testing. We're required to have it for all our DOT drivers. We're already complying with all of that. It's just to make sure our policy is in alignment with the regulations, basically. Because we have the federal grants and other things like that, we are periodically audited, and we do need to comply. So that's what we're doing.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Alrighty, thank you, Director.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this item, item 5B? Seeing no one from the public come forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
I'll call item 5C, approving a tax levy request from the Lincoln Airport Authority.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman Weber, Lincoln City Council. I'm Chris Hove, serve as the chairman of the Lincoln Airport Authority Board, 2400 West Adam in Lincoln. I have with me Anthony Dudas, who's the executive director, and Chad Lay, director of planning and development, and Rachel Barth is back here with marketing and air service and to provide support. Today we're here to ask you to approve the Lincoln Airport tax levy, which we are proposing to hold the same rate as last year. LNK is an essential part of Lincoln's infrastructure that connects the community to the world, supports business recruitment and retention, enables continued economic development, and contributes to the quality of life for everyone in our community. The Airport Authority Board takes the responsibility of utilizing these taxpayer funds very seriously. The board has invested these funds focused on long-term capital needs, strategic investments that protects the community's existing infrastructure while positioning Lincoln for continued growth. With these funds, we maintain over 26 miles of roads and 5 bridges, just like a smaller community in Nebraska, and we've added air service with 2 additional carriers and 4 direct destinations. These investments are guided by the Airport Authority's strategic plan and are intended to produce benefits that extend well beyond the boundaries of the airport. They support commercial air service, general aviation, Nebraska National Guard and Air Guard, and the continued development of the airport's job creation and private investment. I'll now turn it over to Anthony to provide additional context for the Airport Authority's strategic direction and the community value these investments are intended to create.
Thank you, Chairman Hove, and thank you to the City Council for allowing us the opportunity to discuss this proposal with you today. I'm Anthony Dudas, the Executive Director for the Lincoln Airport Authority, 2400 West Adams Street. Today, we're asking you to approve our request for our airport tax levy, which as was already stated, we're proposing to hold steady. As Chairman Hove noted, the authority takes these funds and the ability to utilize them very seriously, and it's a very large responsibility. I want to make sure that we're being as transparent as we can be with the long-term funding strategy, how we've previously invested these funds, and where we're looking to utilize these in 2027 as we propose today. So the Lincoln Airport is a very diverse operation. Most think of the airport as the air service, the terminal. However, we have significant other operations that happen out there as well. We, of course, have air service, which is a high priority of ours, but we do support the 155th National Guard Wing. We have a large industrial park on the west side of the airport, and we have a significant general aviation business population on the east side of the airport. Together, those activities provide an annual economic impact to our community of over $1 billion. So it's paramount that we continue to invest in the infrastructure and the needs to make our community stronger and more connected as we look to the future. So upon my arrival, being relatively new to our community here, 7 months in, our board has adopted a strategic business plan. And part of those strategic goals focuses on really those 4 core businesses that we support throughout the airport. First, we want to continue to grow reliable and sustainable air service for our community and for our region. Second, we want to make sure our airport-owned property and infrastructure is readily available for future investment of potential private developers, and we're looking to the future to make sure that it is ready for that activity. Third, we have to preserve our other essential infrastructure, like all of the roads, bridges, water, airfield infrastructure, buildings, and other supporting infrastructure across our campus. And lastly, we must maintain a sustainable funding strategy that pairs our local resources with federal, state, and private investment when those opportunities are available. The return on these investments is measured not only in the activity at our airport, but also in Lincoln's ability to enhance our quality of life for our community, attract employers, retain talent, welcome people, and support that continued growth. A strong airport helps make Lincoln a more connected, competitive, and accessible community. So a brief look at where these funds have been leveraged over the past 3 years. And it's divided between bonded indebtedness, so projects that we've leveraged for our runway, our operations facility, our terminal renovation and expansion, and a few other projects as well. And then our non-bonded indebtedness, what we call internally our operational levy. And what that is it allows us a different funding mechanism that isn't as saddled with some of the federal requirements that FAA funding, as an example, has. So we can focus on air service development, some of these other infrastructure projects like roads and bridges that the FAA wouldn't typically participate in. So recently, those funds have supported air service development, our airport equipment, concrete repairs, bridge design, our many demolitions and renovations across the industrial park, and other long-lived infrastructure investments. The levy allows us to address those needs that don't qualify for some of these other grant programs, and our lower priority for funding when we have major runway projects and things of that nature that really take up a significant portion of our funding available. So a brief look back at 2026. It's not an exhaustive list, but these are some projects that have been completed as part of our non-bonded indebtedness projects. That includes our GIS replacement, some culvert repairs, bridge rehabilitations, and air service. These illustrate the range of potential responsibilities we could use these funds for. So looking to 2027, we are proposing approximately $4.77 million in non-bonded funding for air service development and 3 additional capital improvement projects across the airfield. Approximately $3.25 million is proposed to support existing agreements with carriers that are new to our community, with American and Breeze commencing service over the last 12 months. The remaining funds would support reconstruction of Northwest 36th Street, our South Airport Service Road, and the first phase of our Airport Industrial Park master planning effort. Again, these projects reflect those strategic priorities that our organization has a mission to continue to work towards: strengthening air service, preserving our essential infrastructure, and preparing our property for that future economic development opportunity. So, have to toot our own horn a little bit here as I stepped into a really great positive trajectory with air service. We are truly seeing very measurable results already in our air service. In 2026, we ranked among the top 2 of similarly sized airports in percentage of seat capacity growth. With Breeze and American Airlines starting direct service to Dallas-Fort Worth, Orlando, Las Vegas, and Breeze through to Orange County. And we're looking forward to our seasonal service starting on December 17th. So we're on track to serve more passengers. Well, excuse me, I just learned right as I walked in the door that July of 2026 was the busiest on record for passenger traffic since 2006. So 20 years, our busiest month on record, which is truly phenomenal and really shows that people are using the service that we're bringing to our community. This strong momentum, combined with the consistently positive feedback we continue to receive from our expanded air service, our safe, clean, efficient facilities, really demonstrates the meaningful value we're leveraging these funds for. So these early results are really encouraging, but we do need to continue to work towards building sustainable air service. We'll continue working to strengthen our existing routes, looking at new opportunities, and improving our overall experience for our community. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Lay, our Director of Planning and Development, to discuss the 3 proposed capital projects that we're also looking to fund today.
In addition to the air service development that Anthony just talked about with the tax levy dollars, we've got 3 kind of more traditional capital projects that are in this year's request as well. The first one is a fairly straightforward road project. It's a complete reconstruction of a road, Northwest 36th Street. This is a public street. It serves as the primary entrance to the Sports Car Club of America events, the national events that we host annually at the airport. And it is currently rated in serious condition in our PASER pavement review system. And as such, we've got about $800,000 set aside for that reconstruction of that street that's, you can clearly see on the slide, in poor condition. Next up, we have a rehab of our South Service Road. Now, this road is inside the fence, but it is used for life safety, airport rescue, firefighting services to reach all parts of the airfield in the event that we had an emergency. Also helps us with snow removal. This particular road is rated as poor in our PASER rating system. However, it is also a bit of a target of opportunity. As you may or may not be aware, the airport is currently, with FAA funding, in the midst of one of the largest projects in our history, the reconstruction of our primary runway. This is nearby that, and by accomplishing this work in the upcoming year, we hope to use our dollars a little bit more efficiently. We'll have less mobilization, less safety measures that we have to put into place if we are able to get that street project done this year. And then lastly, Anthony already touched on this, we are going to kick off the first phase of our West Industrial Park Plan, also commonly known as Air Park. The board, in its recently approved strategic plan, has really made it a priority to try to figure out, for us to try to figure out how to really push development over in that industrial park. If it's not also the added effort to trying to develop that area, is a primary source of revenue for the airport. So longer term, the more successful that industrial park is, hopefully the less reliant we are on tax dollars in the future. And so we're really hoping to get some high-level survey, utility, geotechnical, all the information that we need to be able to get out to developers as they are looking for those industrial park developments. Certainly take any questions.
Yeah, that's our full presentation for you today. We would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Alrighty. Thank you so much to the entire team for presenting and coming down today. We'll open it up to council. I'll recognize Councilman Beckius and then Councilman Duden.
No questions, but I just wanted to thank all of you for coming down here today. For the entire team, really excited about the master plan. Glad that you guys are working towards that, and of course, the pavement improvements, bridge culvert improvements, in order to try to figure out how to unlock that industrial area for additional revenue generation in due time, and that'll take time. Mm-hmm. But really wanted to thank all of you for the foresight in working that plan, and like I said, this was years in the making and will be years going forward too, but just really wanted to extend a big thanks for those improvements and that planning part to be a part of this year's levy request. So thank you.
Councilman Duden.
To kind of piggyback that, are we talking about the bridges that are within that industrial park zone
That is
you just
correct.
showed?
Yep.
Because they're old.
Yeah, yes, which is why we've got some projects on the books to try to, most of them are in relatively good shape, but we've got some rehab projects in order to preserve them so it doesn't get to a complete tear out and replacement. Nonetheless, bridge work is always expensive. We've got 3 on the west side that are publicly accessible. We've got another one on the south side that it's emergency route, and we also have a couple of rail bridges in the area.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from council? I'll just recognize myself real quickly to say, like my colleagues, I'm very excited about the investment and the comprehensive investment within our airport and the services, but especially that industrial park, the master plan. I think as the individual that represents Northwest Lincoln, it's absolutely crucial to the economic vitality of my district. And I think you hit it square on the head that the better the industrial park does, the better our entire city does. So I really appreciate the intention there. And with no other questions or comments, thank you so much for coming down today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to testify on this item? Mr. Way, welcome.
Thank you, Chairman. Hi, my name's Robert Way. I live at 7205 Oxford Avenue, Lincoln, Nebraska. I rise in opposition to this proposal for a few different reasons. Let's address some points that they just made in the presentation. They were very excited that after, I believe, 3 years of tax levy, and not tax levy going to targeted capital improvements, but to operational expenses, they bravely fought back to 2006 levels. What was not in their presentation is any time this will stop, when they will stop needing operational tax levy for operational funds. You all know how hard it is to split up the budget. You've all fought valiantly recently to try and just get a pool funded because there is so little money. And here we have great celebration because we've spent, I'm not sure if I read these numbers right, $11 million in non-capital thing to finally get back to 20 years ago. Is the jobs in the Air Park key? Yes. I've worked those jobs. Are those jobs something we should put an endless check without seeing a plan? Are those jobs living wage jobs? You are asking people, and if they don't pay their property taxes, eventually sending a sheriff to seize their property if they don't pay their property taxes, so we can have economic development. And another phrase that they chose to use, airport service development, which is a fancy $5 word for saying we're giving airlines money. We give them money so they stay here. That is not their fault. They are not bad people. We work in a hub and spoke system, and there's just no way we're going to be a hub. So we're going to have to fight. But now we're 3 years when they're taking money for operational expenses, and they just admitted they plan on doing it in the future. I don't understand any other department that comes before you and says we've spent a lot of money and we're going to spend a lot more and maybe you'll get something. That's not what the other people who come to you for funding present. So I ask you to consider those points. I thank you very much for your time. I hope you have a good day.
Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Way, thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public who would like to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Seeing no one else from the public come forward, does anyone from the airport want to close, or presentation sufficient?
Chris Hove, Chairman of the Lincoln Airport Authority Board. I appreciate comments that were made. We did discuss the levy, and that is something we do take very seriously, and we do hope at some point that we'll be able to lower it or eliminate it. At this time, things are progressing, but the infrastructure in the south, in the air park, needs work, and everybody can drive around there and see how much work it needs. And as the city, you got to take care of your roads. How do you take care of them? You got to pay tax. You got to collect taxes to do that. That's what we're doing here. That's infrastructure. It's not operational. It is infrastructure that has to be taken care of. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Hove. Madam Clerk, we may proceed on to the next item.
I'll call item 5D. Item 5D is approval of amendment number 1 of the conditional annexation and zoning agreement for Falcon Heights between the city and Neb Holdings LLC.
Alrighty. Is there anyone here to present on this item?
Good afternoon, Abby Luttrell, City Law, 555 South 10th Street. This is an amendment to the Falcon Heights annexation agreement from 2024. This amendment is to allocate Lincoln on the Move sales tax dollars. This improvement is at Northwest 44th and West Holdridge Street. Was included in the original annexation agreement as a required arterial street improvement for the development. This amendment before you allocates $515,000 of Lincoln on the Move sales tax dollars to the $1 million project. So I can answer any questions you may have.
Alrighty. Is there any questions from council for Assistant City Attorney Luttrell? Alrighty. Thank you. Alrighty. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak? Or
Good afternoon.
Mr. Catt?
My name's Peter Catt, appearing on behalf of Neb Holdings, 6333 Apples Way, Lincoln, Nebraska 68516. So I've been developing that project out there called Falcon Heights for the last several years. And I just wanted to come down and say thanks to the city's leadership team on being willing to recommend approval of these funds for this particular project. And thanks to the voters of Lincoln that approved Lincoln on the Move funds. This is a project I think I've told many of you about, that I'm trying to bring affordable housing to town without a whole lot of other money. And this helps makes a difference in getting that necessary road improvement done without me needing to go borrow another $500,000 up front and basically get paid back over impact fees. So just wanted to say thanks. As you know, I always have things to talk about and say, sometimes not as pleasant, not all the whole thanks and everything. So this was a good opportunity to come down, look everyone in the eye and say thanks. Keep up these kinds of opportunities for our community.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Catt? All righty. Thank you so much. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Seeing no one from the public come forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
I'll call item 5E, approval of renewal contract with modification of parking management services.
Alrighty. Welcome, Director Marvin.
Good afternoon. Dan Marvin, Urban Development, 555 South 10th Street. So several years ago, we went out for an RFP. We had multiple applicants. Laz was awarded the contract. Laz, if you fly into a lot of different cities, you'll see they're a very large parking manager. You'll see them in many cities across the country. And after that RFP committee reviewed the different applicants, Laz was selected, and they were selected for a 4-year contract. And the terms of that contract would then allow annual renewals for the next 4 years. So we're in the first year of that 4-year additional annual renewal. And I don't think that there's any arguments or difficulties that we've had with Laz, so we would like to be able to renew that contract per the agreement that we agreed to 4 years ago. And we'll put down here the one little element of discussion that we've had for some period of time was, I don't know, was a difference on how the compensation would have occurred, and there were some areas that we had not paid them the right amount, and in other areas that there was dispute the other way. So the reconciliation over the last 2 years is $35,000 to the city's good on that reconciliation, and that will come out of a future repayment that we have under this current contract. I'm happy to answer any other questions that you might have.
Are there any questions for Director Marvin from council? Alrighty, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Seeing no one from the public come forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
I'll call item 5F. Item 5F is authorizing the Parks and Recreation Department's application to the Recreational Trails Program, administered by the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission and funded by the Federal Highway Administration, for financial aid to develop the Prairie Corridor Trail from Pioneers Park Nature Center to Southwest 56th Street.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, J.J. Yost, Assistant Director for Parks and Recreation. Kind of standard operating procedure here. We're interested in trying to secure a recreational trails program grant to further develop the Prairie Corridor Trail. This particular segment that we'll be applying for would be working our way out of the west end of Pioneers Park out to Southwest 56th Street, so a continuation of the trail that's already been developed in the park and making another connection as we work our way towards the Spring Creek prairies. So $250,000 request in a grant application. That's the maximum amount we can ask for. We do have the matching funds identified, which include $35,000 from our own Parks Department CIP and then other funding sources, including the NRD as a partner in this. So happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. Are there any questions for Mr. Yost? Councilman Beckius.
Thank you, Chair. We do have a motion to amend on this one. There was a change, just a small error, changing from the request amount from $465,000 to $250,000. Just wanted to get that out there for folks as they may be listening. So they're going to hear a motion to amend, and just wanted to put that out there. So thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Councilman Duden.
JJ, do you have a map of this at all?
I apologize, I did not bring a map of this. This is, I should have done that, and I can get you one. We have existing trail working our way through kind of the southern side of the of Pioneers Park, all the way to about the Pioneers Park Nature Center, and this trail would then continue from that west terminus of the trail, head a little bit north, and then west out to Southwest 56th Street.
Hold on, I think we're
okay, you're improvising there.
Now.
Excellent.
We have, as part of our attachment here with the packet, we do have a map that's showing the trail.
Where is it?
I think it's this red and
red.
red and black.
Oh.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank you. That's what I was interested in.
Any other questions?
I'm sorry, I must have missed that. So,
Any other questions or discussion from council? Councilwoman Washington.
Having had a long relationship with the planning for the Prairie Corridor, I just want to say it's so great to see this proceed. Okay. Excitement tempered. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from council? Thank you, Mr. Yost. Yeah. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item, item 5F? If so, please come forward now. Seeing no one from the public come forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
Can I vote on these items? Item 5A is amending resolution number A95090, voluntary school and child care lead test and reduction grant program agreement between the Lincoln Lancaster County Health Department and the Nebraska Department of Water, Energy, and Environment for the lead remediation project, introduced by Duden.
so moved.
Second?
Second by Carlson. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Beckius?
Yes.
Carlson?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Duden?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 5B is amending resolution A91270, Federal Transit Administration Program for drug and alcohol testing by creating a separate policy and guide which complies with the current federal standards, introduced by Duden.
So moved.
Second?
Second by Carlson. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Carlson?
Yes.
Duden?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 5C is approving a tax levy request from the Lincoln Airport Authority, introduced by Duden.
So moved.
Second?
Second by Carlson. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Carlson?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Duden?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 5D is approval of amendment number 1 of the conditional annexation and zoning agreement for Falcon Heights between the city and Neb Holdings LLC, introduced by Duden.
So moved.
Second?
Second by Carlson. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Washington?
Yes.
Carlson?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Duden?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 5E is approval of renewal contract modification of parking management services, introduced by Duden.
So moved.
Second?
Seconded by Carlson. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Beckius?
Yes.
Carlson?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Duden?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 5F is authorizing the Parks and Recreation Department's application to the Recreational Trails Program, administered by the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission and funded by the Federal Highway Administration for financial aid to develop the Prairie Corridor Trail from Pioneers Park Nature Center to Southwest 56th Street, introduced by Duden.
So moved.
I'll second.
Seconded by Carlson.
And Madam Chair?
Councilwoman Washington.
Oh, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Councilman Beckius, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to enter a motion to amend to correct the recreational trails program request as listed on page 1, line 6, from $465,000 to $250,000.
Second.
Seconded by Washington. Discussion on the motion to amend. Seeing no discussion on the motion to amend, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Duden,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0.
Discussion on the main motion. Seeing no discussion on the main motion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Duden,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. That concludes section 5 of the agenda. We'll move on to section 6, which is public hearing ordinances, second reading, and related resolutions. I'll call item 6A. Item 6A is annexation 26006, application of Winston and Amanda Ostergaard to annex a property generally located at South 88th Street and Taliesin Drive, including land north of Pioneers Boulevard.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, Council. I'm Brad Marshall with Olson, 601 P Street, Suite 200. I am here on behalf of Winston and Amanda Ostergaard. This is an annexation request that I'm going to explain a little bit. I'm going to show a map here. The original request was done by Winston and his wife to annex their property. They are adjacent to the city limits. Here we are. They're adjacent to the city limits and are building a new home on the property. The property was, or the home that was previously there had been demolished, and they're building a new home for themselves adjacent to relatively the Firethorn area to the north and to the east. Upon the request for annexation, the city altered the request to basically add the additional properties surrounding Winston's property. This is kind of an anomaly. It's properties that are within the city limits that are not currently annexed. The reason being that the annexation requested is seeking city services, city sewer, city water, and so forth for their new home. Sewer is available through Firethorn. Firethorn is currently operated privately, but does all the sewage from Firethorn does go into the city's sewer system eventually, and pay water and sewer fees for all of that. Water is privately done within this particular area. I can't say all the properties, but the properties along Taliesin have a private well and are served privately currently. Winston has Olson doing a design right now for what would be a water main design and extension. He was bearing that cost for himself to the benefit of the neighbors. Yeah, that's the current plan. We'll go through plans and bidding and so forth and see where that takes us. But the bottom line is that he's not asking for any of those facilities that that he would make a decision on that would go into like a district or anything that would impact any type of financial contribution of his neighbors. I'm kind of standing here this afternoon in a kind of a unique position where we're at an application that involves a lot of properties. Winston and his wife are building their home, and they don't want to upset, and this is what was kind of said at Planning Commission, they don't want to upset their neighbors by saying, hey, we need this, and we're going to just bring everybody in with us as well. So their real request is to annex themselves, their property. And I know that presents a lot of challenges for the city and how that is done. You know, city services, city council, or city and county agreements, and so forth. And I'm sure you'll have some questions along those lines of what those challenges do bring about. But the real request is, again, kind of setting aside for what is in front of you. Winston and his wife Amanda are just trying to get city services because they are building a brand new home and are adjacent to it. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Alrighty. Are there any questions from council? Councilman Duden.
Are the wells for irrigation purposes? And then will they have a well for irrigation purposes?
I don't know the answer to that. The well that I referenced is one private well that I'm aware of that does service most of those residents along Taleason. It's kind of the Icaru subdivision that happened 40, 30 years ago, and was kind of developed around the same time as Firethorn. And then back about 20 years ago, Firethorn went through annexation. However, this area was left out of it because it didn't extend like water. The water agreements and so forth that Firethorn did at that time didn't extend this far or to these properties. So the current plan would be for the water well to stay in operation, to continue to serve those properties. Those properties have their own septic systems that are currently in operation. And so they would, if you annexed them as proposed under this, they would become part of the city, but they wouldn't relatively have all city services available to them. For sewer example, they're not adjacent to Firethorn where there's currently like piping and so forth for that to be collected. There would be, under the current plan, water. Some properties are adjacent to 88th. Right now so this is Pioneers Boulevard, 88th. And 88th used to be a county road that used to go through, so there's old right-of-way that was vacated. And so about where my pen is located is where a current water main was constructed in 2007, 2008. And so some of the properties do front water, but some of them don't. And those are primarily the properties that are up on Taleason, and I think there's a lone property out here that does not also. The sewer stub that kind of comes down from Firethorn is about right at the north end. And so the lucky recipient of that is Winston and the property adjacent to it, where they do have the ability. Again, it is privately operated by Firethorn, and so they did come to an agreement to work with them to get the extension of sewer services to their property. That was a long-winded answer for water wells.
I was under the impression that some of that, maybe Mr. Carey can answer some of those questions, but that was the sewer and water was kind of a temporary thing, and eventually the city would provide that for that area. And I may let him answer that. I've been involved with this particular area. The long range planning is like there would be Firethorn is currently on a lift station.
Right.
That could come off, and then that become a public system through there and
Right.
everything. It gets really shallow. So we try to gravity pipe, gravity flow everything into piping here, and it gets really shallow by the time you get to about the cul-de-sac. And so not all of those properties would be likely to be served.
Okay.
The draw actually comes down about where my pen is here, and it comes up. And so theoretically, a better location for a future sewer would be probably through the golf course in the future. But most of the properties, if
we get the water constructed down to Leeson would have water at that time.
Alrighty. Councilman Beckius?
I have a question for Director Carey. I didn't know if others had questions for Brad before we let him go.
Any other questions from council? Alrighty, thank you.
Thank you.
Director Carey?
David Carey, Director of the Planning and Development Services Department, 555 South 10th Street.
Thank you, Director Carey, for coming down. I appreciate it. Looking through the notes and Mr. Marshall's testimony here, it seems as though the applicant here is trying to make a good faith effort to not negatively impact his neighbors while trying to ascertain this annexation process. But let's move that to the side for the time being. This looks like an area that would eventually be annexed here in short order anyway. Can you speak to that at all? Or I'm trying to ascertain, really, I don't know that Mr. Ostergaard's request here is necessarily directly correlated to the annexation. It's happening potentially at the same time, but this looks like a piece that would be annexed here in short order regardless.
I appreciate the question, and that was going to be part of my testimony today, regardless of getting asked the question or not. But so this location has been on our short list of needed annexations at some point in the near future, if not now. Really because it truly is surrounded on three sides. It's the rest of the area, although there are golf courses as well, but the area is really building out around it and has been for quite a few years. So had this individual request not come in, it was going to be on our short list of future annexation packages regardless. So that's the answer to your direct answer to your question.
Okay. Because I really appreciate the work that the applicant went through in order to work with their neighbors and interact with their neighbors. But I'm not sure that these two issues really are all that related to each other. They just may simply appear to be. So thank you for that question, or for answering that question.
Sure.
I appreciate it. And you may have other things you want to share, so I should let you do that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I just wanted to kind of fill in kind of what Brad was saying. He did a really nice job of kind of explaining how we got to this point. But a few other points that I think are important to be made and make sure they're on the record and you have a chance to digest this and ask further questions potentially is because the water line is going to be built, or the intention is for that water line to be built, it will allow for the opportunity for these property owners to hook up to city water sooner than what otherwise might happen, or what typically would happen when we start to annex acreage lots into the city. And it would not be as much of a cost to them, kind of obviously. So that's when you think about annexation packages as they've come before the city council for your consideration in the past, oftentimes that becomes one of the bigger questions of, well, when can I get water service? And in this case, it's a better situation for the other property owners out there because it appears that sooner than later they will have that opportunity. I will be very clear, though, that they are not required to hook up to that water line, that's not a requirement upon annexation. It becomes an opportunity for them if and when they want to do that. The other part of this is that some of the questions we did get from the other property owners throughout the process has been, what about am I going to be compelled to hook up to sanitary sewer that is in the area but is not in the street itself? And so the quick answer to that is that no, none of these property owners will be compelled to hook up to sanitary sewer. So again, when you think about other annexation packages that we've talked about in the past, sometimes that does happen because we do have that rule of if it's within 300 feet of an existing tappable line, that's the rule that we operate under upon annexation. None of these property owners have to do that. We will not be compelled. To further that, if there is an interest in gaining access to that, and Brad started to go into that there would have to be work on that in the future. But then again, that would also be likely some type of special assessment district for the other property owners that if they want to do that and so choose to do so. So in the grand scheme of things, they're not going to be compelled to hook up to water or sewer, but they will have the opportunity with the water line if it does get installed. So it's actually a decent, if not good, situation to be in compared to some other annexations that we've dealt with.
And planning departments ideology here was, hey, we're looking at this one. We knew this was on the short list. This area was on the short list. Let's just do it all at once.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Another piece of information is because there's some there can be confusion of who is responding for emergency services when you're in or outside. So this is a pretty small area compared to some areas that we've annexed, but there has been some confusion in the recent past of who's responding to what event. The reality is that upon annexation, it'll be very clear that LFR is responding to whether they're medical or fire events. They literally are down on 84th Street. Their number for response time is 57 seconds, and that's quite good. So the response time for emergency services in that sense is going to be greatly improved to these residents upon annexation.
And it looks like that you can't access this subdivision without using a city-owned road.
Correct.
In order to get there anyway.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from council for Director Carey?
You asked my question.
Yeah, me too.
Alrighty. Thank you,
Yep,
Director.
sure, thank you.
Yep. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. I'm Mark Hunziker. I'm appearing on behalf of Richard Youngscap, who owns the property immediately south of the Ostergaard property. It's true that the city services might become available, but to the extent that they are actually available and usable by any of the other properties with respect to sewer is a real big question, because while the Ostergaard property does have access to the Firethorn sewer and sewer back through the Firethorn subdivision, the rest of the properties would have to be served by an extension of the Firethorn sewer that would come up the draw that was shown earlier. I can put it back here if you want to see it. But it would be probably a $500,000 extension just to get there. And there's no way that you would be able to assess a district and assess the entire cost of that against those owners. So to the extent that you expect to serve this area with sewer, you can count on the city bearing a significant portion of the cost, probably 2/3 to 3/4 of it, in extending a sewer through the Firethorn golf course up to this draw. All the lots within this area are served currently with a private well on a water line that was built to city standards and exists in 88th Street. None of the other property owners have any desire to have city water, and I appreciate the assurance that the applicant here is willing to pay for the cost of extending that sewer without imposing any of that cost on these neighbors. But that water system is available to him as well. Basically, what we're asking for here is to have you go ahead and annex the Ostergaard property. We have no objection to that property being annexed, but leave the rest of these properties that do not have access to sewer and do not need or want the city water to be left alone, at least for the time being. We understand that we're kind of surrounded here by city limits, and all the other concerns that go with that, and the city has had a fairly regular and methodical approach to annexing property as it has over the last several years. But there's no need to annex any of these properties at this time, and we would ask that you consider simply annexing the Ostergaard lot and leaving the rest of them out for the time being. And try to answer any questions you may have.
Alrighty. Are there any questions from council? Councilman Duden.
But don't you anticipate that eventually that's going to happen?
At this point, I would tell you that Dick Youngscap does not anticipate that happening. The well water has been tested, and at least according to Dick, tests better than city water, and has never experienced any problems. There have been a couple of septic systems that have been redone over the years. I mean, those homes have been there now for at least 40 years, I would think, and maybe more. And so there's been a couple of those systems that have been substantially renovated and upgraded. But at this point, there's nobody who expects that anytime soon they would be in need of those services.
You know how many fire hydrants are out there in that area?
I don't know the answer to that. I'm relatively sure that there is one at the intersection of 88th and Pioneers, and I think there may be one north of that, possibly at the north end of the townhouse development that's on the west side of 88th Street. I think there may be one here, but I could be wrong about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions from council? Already,
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public wishing to speak on this item? Item 6A. If so, please come forward now. Seeing no one from the public coming forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
I'll call item 6B, Street and Alley Vacation 26007, application of the City of Lincoln to vacate the east-west alley generally located between South 13th Street and South 14th Street and L Street and M Street.
Is there anyone here to present on this item?
Not seeing anyone. Yohanty Christie, City Attorney, 555 South 10th Street. I think there was a request to delay this for 2 weeks to have continued public hearing and vote.
Perfect.
So,
And we'll
Councilman
Thank you.
Beckius? Yep.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Perfect. I just wanted to make sure that there was no one here who, because we had continued
Yep.
public hearing from the last continuance, so I just wanted to make sure there was no one here that wanted to speak to it before we moved to that, in that direction.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Do we want to make the motion now?
Do you want to do it now? Did you call for public comment?
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. Is there anyone from the public here that would like to speak on this item, item 6B?
I didn't think there would be, but I just wanted to give that opportunity. Chair, if we could delay with continued public hearing this item until August 24th, 2026.
Second.
Seconded by Washington. Any discussion on the motion to delay? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Duden,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Okay. We'll move on to item 6C, approving the lease agreement between the City of Lincoln and Downtown Lincoln Association for the lease of space at Old City Hall, located at 920 O Street, Lincoln, Nebraska, from October 1st, 2026 through September 29th of 2029, with the option to renew for one additional 3-year term.
Good afternoon, Dan Marvin, Urban Development, 555 South 10th Street. I'm here as kind of an introduction to Todd, which probably doesn't need an introduction, but I want to convey to this body, one of the reasons Urban Development supports this is that when we started doing Project O Street, we talked about entryway corridors. That was the original name before it was Project O Street. And as an entryway corridor, we think that this is a very prominent location for the City of Lincoln. It is on O Street, and it sits between 9th and 10th Street. And so you think of the volume of people that are pedestrians or cars that are going through this area. It's a very important part of the City of Lincoln. And anybody, I mean, going back 20 years, I had never been in Old Fed probably until 2005, 2006. And I think the public does not get into that building. It's a beautiful building. It's a beautiful location. I think a large amount of the public is unaware of what the history of that building and the purpose of that building. So the purpose, why I think DLA is a great tenant in this building, which, by the way, they'll be the most prominent tenant we've probably ever had in that building for 30, 40 years, is that it will help activate this space. We need to activate the space. We need people to be able to come down. Todd has all of his ambassadors and the up downtown, it's a different name now, but I'm an old person, that come down and will be part of this. So we will be able to have events. We have a fountain right next door. This is a key hub. And then when you start thinking about people that are wandering about the community and having DLA being able to have their ambassadors to be able to say, what are you looking for? Where are you trying to get to? This is a very optimal location for the good of the downtown. And oh, by the way, they'll pay some rent to the building, which will be good for the building as well. So I'll answer any other questions you might have. I know Todd wants to be able to go through the details and the history of how we got to this point as well.
Yeah. Any questions for Director Marvin? Councilman Duden?
Your comment, it's got tall ceilings for Todd.
Yes, it's got that.
He needs that.
And it's got, you know, beautiful old courtrooms and other way spaces that I just feel are not activated and used in the degree to which that building deserves. So I think this will be a great
museum place.
Yeah, it'll be a great way of stimulating people to come down. So
Thank you. Any other questions for Director Marvin? Alrighty, thank you, Director. Welcome, Mr. Ogden.
Hi, I'm back. Todd Ogden, President and CEO of Downtown Lincoln Association, 206 South 13th Street. Dan covered most of it, but at DLA, we're really excited about this opportunity. This came about during, actually, Olson did some focus groups early on in Project O, and under that decided, hey, this is a really key spot that we want to activate, and we raised our hands and said, hey, we should do it. So from there, an instant raise of our hands said, okay, this makes a lot of sense for our mission at DLA. We want to activate downtown and support that. We have a great current space and convenient space. However, I think there's a really good private use that can use our offices, and we can then move into Old City Hall to be a hub. We want this to be a co-visiting hub is what I would call it, a place where the community can gather, the place where our offices will be on the third floor. We also want to turn the first floor offices into kind of co-working spaces for especially our downtown champions and our volunteers to have meetings that can be there. Of course, activate the park. And this will also allow us, because downtown is growing, this is just a hub for us. Our true front door, this will be a front door, but our true front door is going to be our ambassador vehicle. We want our vehicle to be all around downtown so we can move it around to different places where we're needed so we can be all districts of downtown to have a presence. So it's a really exciting move for us. We're adjusting from an 8 to 5 downtown to a 24/7, and this hub allows us to do that. So appreciate working with the city and the Public Building Commission on this, and here to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Todd? Alrighty, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Seeing no one from the public come forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
I'll call item 6D. Item 6D is amending Lincoln Municipal Code Section 2.76.155, Compensation Plan, Longevity Pay, Paragraph D, to add a classification for fire marshal and update the longevity pay compensation amounts.
Welcome, Director.
Hello, Barb McIntyre, Human Resources, 555 South 10th Street. So we're doing two things here with this code change. We created that new fire marshal classification a few weeks ago, so now we're adding it in to this code, and what we're updating in this code is our longevity pay for our police and fire management group, our captains, lieutenants, battalion chiefs, assistant chiefs, that group, just to make sure we're staying competitive with what we see happening for compensation in the marketplace and the longevity that our represented group get, since this group is not represented by a union.
Alrighty. Any questions for Director McIntyre?
Okay,
Alrighty, thank you. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Alrighty, seeing no one come forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
I'll call item 6E, request to change the pay range of the following classifications: 3122, Police Lieutenant from W02 to W03, and 3123, Police Captain from W03 to W04.
Alrighty. Welcome back, Director.
Same group. This is really focusing in on our police lieutenants and captains, and we also took the time when we were looking at the longevity to look at their pay grades and pay ranges, make sure they were equitable and what we would expect to see in the marketplace. So we did decide these should be adjusted. This is included in the 26-28 budget that's already been in front of you, so it's accounted for there.
Awesome. Alrighty. Any questions? No. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Alrighty, seeing no one from the public come forward, we may proceed.
Calling item 6F, amending Lincoln Municipal Code Section 2.62100, benefits, commencement of payments, Section 2.62140, cost of living adjustment, initial amounts, annual increase, how funded, Section 2.65.100, benefits, commencement of payment, and Section 2.65140, cost of living adjustment, initial amounts, annual increase, how funded, to align in service distributions with Internal Revenue Code guidance.
Welcome, Director.
Hi, I'm going to talk about 262-100 and 265-100 first. What that does is the Internal Revenue Code has a section talking about in-service distributions, and we updated our language to match the requirements of the Internal Revenue Code. So that's just a regulatory change there. Not as fun to talk about as the next one. So now I'm going to talk about the 262-140 and 265-140, and this is a pension enhancement that is being offered for our police officers, and then our management, our W's for our police and fire, those unrepresented management groups. And what this does is it allows a $60,000 pension enhancement that the employees can decide to select 3 different ways to use that enhancement. 1, it can be to buy a COLA, a true COLA in their pension. 2, it can be 3 equal $20,000 payments into a 457 or deferred compensation account, or 3, it can be a deposit into a post-employment health plan account to offset the cost of both health insurance premiums and medical expenses. Any questions on that?
Are there any questions for Director McIntyre on that? No.
I'm just going to step to the side now,
Righty.
not go far.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Alrighty. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Matt Franken. If you'll record my business address, 575 South 10th Street. I represent the ladies and gentlemen of the Lincoln Police Union. I'm the Vice President of the Lincoln Police Union. Thank you for having me here today. The Lincoln Police Union is here today in support of the proposed Plan D pension for new police officers and retirement enhancements for current members. Our members consistently tell us of a cost of living adjustment for their pension is an important issue. Without a COLA, they face real challenges in making retirement dollars last in the face of inflation. Plan D effort helps solve the issue for new members by providing a 2% COLA, which greatly reduces the impact of inflation as retired officers age. The retirement enhancement helps solve the issue for current members, providing a flexible $60,000 retirement payment lets members guide those dollars toward their most pressing retirement need. For example, officers generally must retire much earlier than the rest of the population because of the work that we do. Most have to wait several years to become eligible for Medicare. The $60,000 enhancement can be placed in an officer's post-employment health plan account, helping the officer purchase health insurance or pay other medical expenses during their retirement. The enhancement can also be placed in a 457 retirement account or can be used with other dollars to purchase a COLA in 0.5% to 3%. The flexibility offered by the program really helps meet the needs of our members. Improving the retirement plans of Lincoln police officers is critically important to attracting new officers and maintaining current officers. Lincoln competes for talented people with nearby law enforcement agencies, most of whom offer a pension COLA and post-employment health care. Addressing the COLA issue helps the city keep experienced officers and attract talented new officers. We're grateful for Mayor Gaylord Bear and her team for working on this issue with us and putting the issue in front of the city council. On behalf of the Lincoln Police Union, I urge the council to pass the resolutions to establish new Plan D and the retirement enhancements. I'd also like to thank the city council for everything you do to improve the lives of our members. Thank you much.
Thank you. Appreciate the work you do. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Alrighty, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
I'll call item 6G, amending Title II of the Lincoln Municipal Code by adding a new Chapter 2.67, providing for the establishment of a retirement plan to be known as the Police Pension Plan D.
Yes, so this is a new pension plan, and you're voting on it now, but it won't go into effect until September 1st of 2027. So anyone who becomes commissioned police officer after that would be eligible for this plan. The components of this plan it does offer a 2% cost of living, or it can fluctuate based on the consumer price index. It does do some other things. It also increases their benefit maximum from 64% to 75%. It enables them to work more than 25 years. They have to work 30 years to receive that maximum benefit amount. It does change our standard. Our pension plan A and B members do an 8% increase. On this one, the members will do a 12% increase. But it also slides a little bit if we end up with some unfunded liability, which we sometimes do in these pension plans. But we wanted to keep that pretty low, so it can slide up to 3.5% for the member increase, and then the city would pay the additional unfunded liability. On top of that, it does not include a 13th check because it has that COLA provision in it. Those are probably the biggest changes of all of this, but do you have any questions?
Are there any questions for Director McIntyre, Councilman Beckius, then Councilman Duden?
So, Director, thank you. But in short, this is the new retirement plan that allows for new commissioned officers to have a COLA going forward.
Correct.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Councilman Duden.
And Barb, are we still working on health care for retirees?
Health care for retirees, Tom, what specifically are you?
Their plan?
They have a health care plan. They can stay on the city's health care plan until they reach age 65.
And you can use that money from those.
From the PEP. So in the enhancement on the first one we talked about for our members in Plan A or B, they can choose to have that $60,000 go into their post-employment health care account. That account can be used to cover their health care premiums until they hit age 65 or medical expenses. So they do have a mechanism, and that's in addition to when they retire, then they also get a percentage of, it's a sliding scale percentage of their health insurance paid into that PEP account, also to help them pay for those premiums, because they are today able to stay on the city's health insurance.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
That's what I was looking for.
Okay, yep, absolutely.
Ready. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Welcome.
Hello, hi. I'm Rosina Paolini, 1850 Dakota, Lincoln, Nebraska. More for perspective, I really should have worked for the city. Healthcare, you really don't get raises. You can have the highest numbers, prevent pneumonia, code people, save their lives, but contract companies own most of the physical therapy companies, are in most of the skilled nursing facilities. Therefore, I'm just giving you a perspective of the difference between the kind of benefits we have in the city and the kind of benefits we have in healthcare. We also get the worst health insurance. It's all researchable, but I just wanted to give you a different perspective between how great the city has it and how healthcare employees actually function. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to testify? If so, please come forward now. Alrighty, seeing no one else from the public come forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
I'll call item 6H, amending Lincoln Municipal Code Section 2.62.020 definitions, Section 2.62.045 operation of the deferred retirement option plan, Section 2.65.020 definitions, and Section 2.65.045 operation of the deferred retirement option plan to update and clarify the language to align with Internal Revenue Code guidance.
Come back, Director.
Yeah, so as long as we were looking at our pension plans, we took a deep dive and modernized everything to come into compliance with the IRS language, because over time they develop new rules and regulations, and as long as we're looking at plans, we want to make sure all of that's captured. So this again is just bringing in the IRS language around the 415 limits, which basically establishes a $72,000 amount that can be discretionarily invested when you're in drop. Anything above that has to go into like a guaranteed account. So we're just creating that dual account structure, and again, putting this in place because the IRS regulations require it. Any questions on this?
Any questions for Director McIntyre?
All right, thanks.
Alrighty, thank you. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Seeing no one from the public come forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
I'll call item 6I, amending certain sections of Lincoln Municipal Code Chapter 19.03 Fire Code to move fire prevention responsibilities from the Planning Department to the Lincoln Fire and Rescue Department.
Thank you for giving Director McIntyre a break.
Right,
Yeah.
yes, that was the plan.
Yes, yeah. Welcome, Director Carey.
David Carey, Director of the Planning and Development Services Department, 555 South 10th Street. Thank you for a little bit of your time today on this item. What we have here is the culmination of conversations that have been happening for over a year now, which is in coordination with Lincoln Fire and Rescue, the Planning Department, and previously the Building and Safety Department before our merger, have been discussing and then coordinating on basically updating our code with this current budget process that we're in right now, to move the Bureau of Fire Prevention from what was the Building Safety Department and then Planning and Development Services Department to Lincoln Fire and Rescue. And there's various reasons for doing that. The most obvious is that it appears to everybody involved in this discussion that there is more of a direct and logical line from sworn employees in the Bureau of Fire Prevention to the leadership and management of Lincoln Fire and Rescue. I will note that as part of this, this is reflected in the proposed budget that you're considering now as well. And so the positions that would move over to Lincoln Fire and Rescue are now being shown in the proposed budget that way, just to make sure that that's understood, because that could be a legitimate question that somebody could come to us with. And with that in mind, we have struck an agreement between our two departments of how we will do this work. So the work of the Bureau is extremely important. And we have agreed that we're going to continue to house them in the Planning Department where they are today, because there is a necessary interaction with our building plan review folks, our commercial plan reviewers, as well as our building team in general, because a lot of the information is intertwined as far as plan review for fire code and things like that. So wanted to make sure you had that background and understood kind of how we got to this point. And the update to section 1903 of the code is really that is the fire code for us, and it is being clear that the fire code official is now housed in Lincoln Fire and Rescue. And then again, we have agreed to continue to administer their work with the sharing of fee revenues that do come in the door. And then we are reflecting this move in the proposed budget that is in front of you for consideration as well. So with that, I'll stop and see if there's any questions.
Are there any questions for Director Carey? Alrighty, thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to testify on this item? If so, please come forward now. Seeing no one from the public come forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
I will call item 6J, amending Title 9 of the Lincoln Municipal Code relating to public peace and welfare by repealing Chapter 9.44 in its entirety. The sections to be deleted are duplicative provisions that also exist within Chapter 19.03 of the Fire Code.
Welcome, Director.
David Carey, Director of the Planning and Development Service Department, 555 South 10th Street. Somewhat related to the previous item that we just talked about, there has been a duplication over the years from Chapter 9 of the code and Chapter 19. And so because we were basically updating how we were addressing organizing around the Bureau with the fire code changes that we just talked about, and with the merger of our departments and then this move happening as well, we took it upon ourselves to recommend that we repeal this section, mainly because it's duplicated in Chapter 19. The idea here is that we don't want to cause, there has been some confusion of why does it show up in two different places, and we felt like this is a good time when we're doing this other cleanup and change to recommend that get removed so there isn't duplication, and we will be referencing people to the Chapter 19 section that does have that information in it.
Awesome. Alrighty, any questions for Director Carey? Alright,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the public who wants to speak on this item, item 6J? If so, please come forward now. Seeing no one from the public come forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
I'll call item 6K, amending Lincoln Municipal Code Section 2.28.010, Director Appointment Duties, generally to remove outdated language by amending Chapter 2.76 Personnel System to modernize and simplify the hiring and related provisions to update the language to align with current practices and to remove outdated language.
Long time no see, Director.
Yeah, Barb McIntyre, Human Resources, 555 South 10th Street. I'm going to just start with 2.28. In there, one of the duties that has listed is that I oversee the payroll department. Payroll is actually housed in the finance department, so that's just cleanup because it's not really part of the HR team or HR department. So we're removing that from that section. And then the hiring code cleanup, it's a lot of change, but this section of code had not been touched since 1990. And a lot has changed in 36 years or so. And so what we're really trying to do here is bring the code into alignment with modern language. We assess people. We don't do examinations. That sounds like something you'd get at your doctor's office. But we do a lot of pre-hiring assessments. And so really a lot of it is language changes, grouping things together. It wasn't all grouped, so you're going to see some renumbering in there, but it's us grouping it all together. So we really did try to modernize and simplify this section of municipal code. Terminology's been updated. Again, like I said, replacing examination with the term of assessment. We got rid of some other outdated language that's just not used also, and modernized that. It does reflect our current structure, which is more collaborative between us and the departments, and maps out kind of what Human Resources does, what the departments do, and how we collaborate to hire, because this is very much a partnership when we're bringing on new talent between us and those folks in the departments doing that hiring. It does, for promotional candidates, it opens that up. A lot of times we have what we would call temporary employees, and the current language does not allow our temporary employees who might be doing the exact same job as someone else to apply to in a promotional examination. Those positions, it was limited just to employees in the classified service. So this gives them greater latitude because they're still employees of the city of Lincoln, to allow them to also apply for those internal promotional opportunities. And then we've expanded things to include like phone interviews, skills assessment, and other evaluation tools. We also added a bunch of key terms here that are very common today, like applicant, candidate. I'm sure you noticed all of those kinds of things. We added the employee position description, what's classified service versus unclassified service, new definitions there. Let me go through. There was a significant amount of change here. Is there any specific questions, and I can walk through something in detail?
Are there any questions for Director McIntyre?
All right,
I think
thank
we're
you.
good. Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Seeing no one come forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
I'll call item 6L, amending Lincoln Municipal Code Section 2.76.90, injury leave with pay to update the language to reflect current practices by amending Section 2.76.395, vacation leave with pay to allow fire department paramedics to accrue vacation leave during probation period by amending Section 2.76400, unauthorized absences, job abandonment, leave without pay to add language that allows employees in TTD, PPD status to utilize leave without pay.
Yeah, so I think the thing I want to really focus in on here is the injury leave piece of this amendment. So what we're really doing is employees who are eligible for injury leave, the way it works today that we'd like to change is if I get injured today, and really how it works is a lot of times these employees doctors want to do the least invasive thing they can. So they'll assign them to physical therapy or something like that. The physical therapy doesn't work. So injury leave starts from the date of injury today, and then it's 6 consecutive months of injury leave. But what we're finding is this isn't working for how patients are being treated, because a lot of times if there is a surgery, it's delayed and their injury leave has expired before they get to their surgery. So really what the injury leave provision does is it establishes a 12-month recovery period, and in that 12-month recovery period, you can use that 6 months of injury leave anytime you need to, since we see a lot of more evasive medical therapies being prescribed later in the recovery period. So injury leave was expiring, and we really felt that wasn't the spirit in which this benefit was intended. Any questions on that?
Any questions for Director McIntyre? Alrighty, thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Seeing no one come forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
I'll call item 6M, request to create the following classification: 0632, Administrative Coordinator E12.
Last one.
Welcome.
Won't be back for McIntyre Human Resources. This is pretty easy. We have a series of administrative support levels at the city, and we got a request in. This happened to come out of LTU, where they really felt like the classification the person was in didn't fit, and we started looking through the series of classifications available and realized we had a gap in there. And so we are here to create administrative coordinator level E12, because we really want to recognize that there are some high-level administrative folks that are doing some very important budget work for us. It's well beyond just like schedules and meetings and what we think of when we think of the administrative staff. They're really leading and owning some complex tasks. So we want to create this to recognize that. There would be one person reallocated to this when we get it created. That cost is $2,205, but that is within their budget. So we've already checked that out too.
Righty. Are there any questions, Councilwoman Washington?
Thank you, Director McIntyre. So pardon me, so I clarify, there's one person right now who will be going into this administrative coordinator position, but this position is now available to all departments.
It is available to all departments because we recognized if we have one person doing this level of work, we could have others. And if there are, they would have to bring forward a job description, show us what they're doing. We would assess that to make sure they really are working at this level. But there could be future opportunity for others to maybe promote into that role too. Yes.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Alrighty. Any other questions for Director? Alrighty. Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Seeing no one from the public come forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
I'll call item 6N, amending section 2.54.050 of the Lincoln Municipal Code to allow city to immediately engage the services for former employees when approved by a department head.
Good afternoon, Abby Luttrell, City Law Department. Before you is just a small amendment to section 2.54, which is in the Personnel Code also. As it exists today, there's a prohibition on engaging the services of a former employee in a professional services contract in many different contexts, unless they've been separated from the city for a period of 6 months. The intent of this provision is really has to do with procurement and fair bidding in professional service RFPs or engagement. But in practice, what has happened is it's created a little friction for our departments and some needs that they have from time to time when an employee separates. Oftentimes it makes the most sense to bring that person back on as an independent contractor, maybe for a short period after they leave for retirement, for helping the new person who's coming into the position, or if they have to leave in the middle of a project. So this is just intended to allow our departments to engage the services of the people most qualified to do the work that they need done.
Alrighty, are there any questions for Assistant City Attorney?
I do. I actually have two.
Yeah, Councilwoman Washington.
Thank you very much, Chair Weber. Ms. Ladrell, can you, for starters, can you define department head? When I saw department head, I wanted to know, does that mean director?
It does mean director, and that is in line with how the term is used in the personnel code.
And then is there a limitation for how long a rehired employee can be on this kind of contract?
Not as the code is written now, but general procurement rules would apply. So,
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to, or any other questions for Ms. Luttrell? Seeing none, is there anyone from the public who would like to testify? Mr. Way.
Hello, Robert Way. My name's already in the record. I might suggest the council consider making a reporting requirement on this particular sort of hire back, because I understand what she's saying, and I think that makes a lot of sense. But since it is odd, it'd be nice to create a paperwork trail that people were following when this happens. It might be a good idea, so we monitor the situation.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty, thank you, Mr. Way. Well, Ms. Luttrell.
I should have mentioned one of the some of the language that is included in here does include that the department heads must notify the human resources department head, and so human resources should be on notice for every time that a director utilizes this section, and that's for kind of complicated reasons involving retirement, making sure that people are not maybe jeopardizing their retirement benefits by doing this. So there should be, the human resources director should be aware every time this happens, and there should be a record created there.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public who would like to testify on item 6N? Seeing no one else from the public come forward, Madam Clerk, we may proceed.
I'll call item 6O, amending Lincoln Municipal Code Chapter 10.02 definitions to add definitions for all-terrain vehicle, electric bicycles, golf car vehicle, low-speed vehicle, mini truck, utility-type vehicle, and to amend definitions for bicycle, driver or operator, mini bike, motor vehicle, motor-driven cycle, shared use path, and vehicle to update to clarify the language to be consistent with the state statutes. By amending Title 10 relating to vehicles and traffic to create a new Chapter 10.47 entitled Golf Car and Low-Speed Vehicles to govern golf car vehicles and low-speed vehicles within the city to be consistent with the state statutes. By amending Section 10.54.010 moped, defined to update the definition of moped. By amending Section 10.54.070 operation of freeway or sidewalks prohibited to include biker trails. By amending Section 10.55.010 electric personal assistive mobility device, defined to clarify the language to be consistent with the state statutes. And by amending Section 12.08.025 operation on trails prohibited to remove moped and golf cart and to include golf car vehicle, low-speed vehicle, utility-type vehicle, whether gas or electric, and other gas-powered devices or vehicles, and including shared use paths.
Alrighty. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to see you. My name is Jessica Karakoffs. I'm Chief Assistant in the Office of the City Attorney, 555 South 10th Street. And today we have amendments to Title 10 and one amendment to Title 12 to address some inconsistencies with state statute. We have some additions and corrections basically to make us more in line with state statute. Given these have been ongoing conversations with law enforcement and parks in trying to address the proliferation of different motor vehicle type devices that are being used on the streets and in the parks these days. We want to provide some clarity for the public on the types of devices that they're owning, where they can be used, how they can be used, in addition to providing clarity to law enforcement on how to regulate and enforce those types of things. So a lot of the definitions we have today or in this amendment, some of them are full additions taken straight out of this statutory language in the rules of the road section. The ones that are being modified in some way are be more consistent with the definition as it exists in the rules of the road section of the statutes. Some of them that are in there now that were adopted in the 90s were taken from the registration sections of statute when we want to address how they're being used on the roads, right? So, so those are where the definitions are coming from. We wanted to take this opportunity to take advantage of the permissions statutes allow cities to take regarding golf cart vehicles. The statutes permit cities to make regulations so that they can be used on the city streets in some limited ways. The statute does give cities a lot of broad leeway in how to regulate those and give some choices and some options basically to pick from, but also indicates that the city can be as stringent as it chooses to be in regulating those golf cart vehicles. And then the, and most importantly, the golf cart section, I think is regulating the operator must be licensed and must have insurance. Those are really important things when we're talking about public safety, that a trained individual, a trained adult is using the equipment and then also has the ability to, cover damage that they may cost in that vehicle. There's some additions to the types of devices that can be used in the parks that we opted to go with ordinance instead of the regulations that they had recently adopted. And again, these are really to provide the public with clarity and the public with information, the public with the knowledge to have when they're either deciding to purchase one of these devices or when they have one and how to use it in the safest locations as the city has decided. So, anyone has any questions?
Alrighty, I think we'll have a few. Councilman Beckius, you're recognized, then Councilman Duden, then Washington, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Chair Weber. First of all, just thank you.
Sure.
I know that this work has been work that has been undertaken over a long, long time.
It has.
With a lot of different people, a lot of different stakeholders throughout the city of Lincoln to come to where we are today. And cities across America are figuring out how to better regulate these types of transportation uses, and Lincoln is no exception there.
Correct.
And even as our peer cities around us are passing regulation today,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to take the opportunity to thank you and the team for putting this forward. Along with that, I think that the better clarifying and defining and making sure that citizens are aware of what the literal rules of the road are is an important step in making sure that we're providing safety for kids in our community. My colleagues may have noticed that there is a substitution motion to amend there just to start a potential discussion on golf cart usage in our community. And I don't know that there is an interest in necessarily modifying what is being proposed, but I think I heard from a few of you that there was maybe an interest in discussing how registered driving adults could be utilizing golf carts in our community. And so I threw that out there as a proposal, just as a talking point, and maybe there's no interest in making a change, and maybe there is, but I just wanted to throw it out there to folks, because I do wonder sometimes if there are uses, although I do wonder if there are uses that make sense here, although state law may supersede or what have you. So I just wanted to put that out there, but mostly I just wanted to thank you very much for all the work.
Well, thank you very much. We're happy to have this in front of the council. I did forget to mention that we do have a motion to amend as well.
Yes.
The definition of motor-driven cycle was not accurate in the draft that was introduced. So I do have an amendment to the language in that amendment does match the state statute.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Yep, Councilman Duden.
I want to thank you as well. I've got constituents in Southeast Lincoln that are looking for some enforcement action with some of these problems. I've seen some of the violations myself. 4 or 5 kids in a golf cart speeding around in a neighborhood. Kids on these electric bikes that are doing 35, 40 miles an hour in a residential zone, no helmets, that sort of thing. And it's a welcome thing that we'll be able to start maybe honing in on some of those things so that we can cut down on the injuries. I know I spoke with Chief Engler that has talked about the increase in injuries with kids operating e-bikes. And when you start adding speed to just 2 wheels, a lot of bad things can happen when you encounter a pothole or a crevice between the curb and the street and things like that. So this is definitely needed. Unfortunately, we're probably, by the time everything's enacted, summer will be over with, and unless these things develop snow tires. But hopefully by next year, we'll be geared up and ready to go so that we can cut back on the injuries and accidents that happen.
Definitely gives us time to educate the public.
Yes. Yeah. And what ways are you going to educate the public?
I think we would partner with law enforcement on how to best
Social
get that
media,
message across.
yep.
Social media, the schools, perhaps.
Schools,
things like that.
bike shops, that sort of thing.
Right.
Pamphlets. Very good.
Councilwoman Washington.
Thank you, Chair Weber, and thank you for bringing this forward. I know it was years of lots of folks. So I just want to talk about 3 things. So again, a second thank you for all the trail users. We're so proud of the trail system we have here in Lincoln, and people who are either operating e-bikes or motorbikes or golf carts on trails just make it more difficult for pedestrians and bicyclists meaning without any other assistance to use the trails safely. And I know that this is going to help in that. When it comes to golf cart usage, I am very interested in that, and I will have further discussions here with Councilman Beckius, but for me, it is an equity issue. I want to make certain that folks who are using golf carts, that the assumption of appropriate use and having all the license is equally applied across. And I understand prosecutorial discretion, but I want to make certain that we're really talking about how do we implement these laws in a way that is absolutely equitable. And then education so important, so I'm glad that Councilman Duden brought that up, but certainly that is the most important piece, I think, because we will never have enough officers on trails, on the streets to help our residents understand what the rules are. And so anything we can do to educate folks and kids about how to safely operate and what's safe to operate on trails and streets, that would be incredibly important. So, but thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from council? I'll recognize myself quickly. I don't have a question per se, but I did just want to say to Councilman Beckius that if he were to introduce his substitute motion to amend, I would be supportive of that while you take that into consideration. If there's no other questions from council, I would open up the hearing to the public. So thank you so much for presenting. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Welcome.
Hi, Jean McGuire, 7715 Fairs Drive. I'm speaking for myself, not for any organization. I just want to compliment you. This is the first step, in my mind, of bringing some, making me feel better about being on the trails and whether it's walking or biking, because I do it every day. And so I appreciate that. Talking about education, I think this is a great opportunity to talk about trail etiquette for everybody. Because there's many times I walk with my dog, and any biker that comes by, whether they're electric or non-electric, if they don't tell me, she goes crazy. So when you talk about education, there's signage that needs to go up about what the speed is, what the rules are. Because right now, I'm taking my life in my hands every time I'm on the trails. And you and I have talked about this at
right.
some of your meetings.
Even mothers with strollers.
That's right. So I appreciate this. This is probably the first step of many to make our trails safe again. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. And if there's multiple people that would like to speak on this item, we have 2 microphones, and you can stand at another microphone. Cool. Welcome.
Hey, my name's Dan Lee, 3102 South 35th Street. Good to be here. I wanted some clarification on motor-driven cycle. I read the resolution, and it appears that the intent is to prevent stand-up scooters, electric cycles with pegs, no pedals, from being, or prohibiting them from the trail system. And when I read the ordinance, I don't really see that, but I think that's what it's supposed to be doing. Is that what this rewrite is doing?
So,
I mean, could you simple it down? Because that's what I don't understand here today.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for coming to the public hearing. Typically, we don't take back and forth questions, but I imagine there will be someone from City Law willing to answer your question here on the side to get you those answers.
Perhaps as a rebuttal, it would be good we can ask the question ourselves.
Yep.
While people are watching this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry to blow up your meeting.
No, you're totally fine. Yes.
Good
yeah.
question.
And if you have anything else, feel free to continue.
Yeah.
Yep. Alrighty, thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to testify? Welcome.
My name's Sherry Axelson. I work for Speedy Pizza Bikes. One of you brought up bike shops. And we absolutely support the changes that you're making. We're excited that they're getting started, and I know that there's going to be plenty more coming. But there's some things that I really want you guys to consider when you're making those further changes. A lot of our customers are individuals who rely on their bikes for transportation. It's their sole source of transportation. They are e-bikes. They are legal e-bikes. We do not sell anything over a 750-watt motor. We have some individuals who can't get their driver's license for whatever reason. This is how they get around. We have a lot of retired individuals who are just getting back outside and getting involved in their community again. So when other states are talking about license, registration, insurance, that's going to hurt a lot of people. So I think we really need to keep that in consideration as we move forward. Also, just making sure that everything is clear. I have customers come in all the time going, well, what's the age? Why can't we do this? Or can we do this? And so I've been doing my research. I obviously can give them the information that they want. But the more you guys are clear and get the information to us, we can get the information to them.
Yep.
So I guess my point is just consider us an ally in this. And if you give us the info, we'll get it out to the public. And on that note, I don't know if I can do this, but we do have an event coming up.
It's free.
It's that really wasn't my point, but it's an educational event. I have LPDA is actually coming, LFR is coming, and Safe Kids are coming to talk about what the current rules are.
Perfect.
Felt germane to me. Yeah.
Okay.
Where's it at?
Yeah, when is
It's
it?
at the shop. Can I?
Yeah. Why don't you,
Or
why don't
you
you
can
tell
put it
us
on the
when it
screen.
is?
Yeah.
October. Oh my God.
If you want,
August
you can just put it on the
31st.
screen too.
I don't know what I'm doing. This is so not.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you got it.
Is that right?
Yep, just give it 1 second.
Okay.
Or 3 seconds.
There. Back to school. Yeah, it's great.
Thank you for holding these safety open houses.
Yeah.
I've been asked so many times and confronted with people on the trails, and I finally saw a bike patrol officer on the trail, and I kind of cornered him. And he's now helping me do this. So
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Alrighty. Anyone else from the public?
Hello, I'm Rosina, just so nobody else wanted to speak. Sherry has really done her research. I am not with Speedy Pete's, but I really support them. I also ride an e-bike. Thank you, Jessica, for the language, and PBAC for diving so deeply into the language and creating this language for an alternative vehicle ordinance. I appreciate the focus on the rider. It's not the thing. And the one thing Sherry didn't mention is the population that needs a throttle only. But they need to be responsible with their throttle only. They can't pedal. Just that little caveat. Thanks to Speedy Pete's for the comprehensive engagement. You see how engaged they are. Lincoln is blessed with more trail users. We are putting more people on the same trails than ever. I think that's not going to change with the price of gas. I don't think the price of gas is going to come down. The infrastructure needs to reflect the increased number of users. So in the MPO plan, it's not funded, so it won't be implemented, but they speak to how to put more users, multimodal users, on the same track. Mark Fenton's a great resource as well, but a lot of it is pedestrians are in an area. Faster people are generally on the outside. We have bump outs so that people can sit or rest or let people pass. And we have paint on the street, or excuse me, on the path, so that we have like smiley faces saying, on your left, or whatever, because that's the kind of norming that makes everybody safe. Julie Harris with Bike Walk Nebraska is probably another resource you've tapped into. Bike Kitchen is an amazing resource, and you've got PBAC. So please, this is great, but let's focus on the rider. Because, quick story, guy rollerblades, had hand weights. He would haul down the Rock Island. He didn't care who was on the trail. He was probably going 25 miles an hour. He would cut, because I use the trail a lot. He would like push women off, people in baby carriages off, the whole works. Again, the focus is on the person. I can be on rollerblades and go 20 miles an hour. I can be on my bicycle and go 5. And when I'm passing somebody, I do. And I'm on an e-bike. Mostly because I want to be the model for that norm. Thanks, you guys. This is awesome.
Is there anyone else from the public who'd like to testify? Welcome.
Hi, I'm Julie Harris from Bike Walk Nebraska.
What a great introduction.
I suppose. So we're the Bike and Pedestrian Advocacy Organization for the state. Our office is actually in Omaha, 6001 Dodge Street. I just want to thank you for the work you've done here on this. As others have said, we recognize this as a top of the chart issue right now. Anybody that has a job like me across the country, we're all up to here trying to figure all of this out. We are also doing a deep dive research study right now in the Omaha area, but also a parallel effort across Nebraska to look at what needs to be changed, if anything, on the state level, so it can help you all make your amendments and ordinances accordingly. One thing I would say is just to help all of us, while you are speaking about these devices, if you talk about an e-bike, a legal e-bike as it is defined now here and in state statute is much different than an e-moto or a mini bike or any of those things. So what we can all do, including our elected officials right now, to help ease all of the confusion is make sure when we say the term e-bike, we're actually talking about a legal e-bike, not an e-moto, which is a whole different can of worms. So we look forward to showing you our recommendations when they come through. We're always here for you as a resource, and appreciate all of that you've done to keep bikes moving in Lincoln. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you. Any questions, Councilman Bowers?
E-moto, I had to Google, is that like the dirt bike?
Yes, something that has more than a 750 watt motor. And so class 1, 2, and 3 e-bikes, which are legal in state statute, are listed here. Anything that does not fit that description is not an e-bike. It's an e-moto or a mini bike or a moped or something else. So that's kind of what we're talking about.
Thanks so much.
Any other questions, Councilman Duden?
Do they license bikes in Omaha?
No.
No.
When you say bikes,
Bicycles
regular standard
Yep.
human pedaled bicycles, no.
or e-bikes?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions from council? Alrighty, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Is there anyone else from the public who would like to testify on this item? If so, please come forward now. Seeing no one else from the public, we'll see if there's a rebuttal or if there's any questions from council.
Unfortunately, I didn't quite understand the question that was asked by a previous testifier and about motor-driven cycles. I know that's what it was about, but I'm not quite sure what it was.
Yeah,
Sorry?
are scooters, electric scooters?
We can have him come
But-
to the.
Okay.
Yes, he can come forward again,
My
Mr. Lee.
question was like the stand-up scooters, the e-motos that Julie described, are those being prohibited from the shared use trails?
I have
Or was
pulled
that the
up here.
intent?
I know what's in here was what Parks wanted to do.
And the reason just is-
Motor-driven cycle is not specifically listed, I know that. Mini bikes are gonna be prohibited now
Correct.
on trails.
Correct, a mini bike, but it doesn't, it stated a motorcycle, I thought.
The motorcycle is listed, it's always been there.
So does that include the e-motos and the stand-up scooters? Because in the definition of motorcycle, you had that, and that, or motor-driven cycle. That's what confused me when I read through this.
Okay, and you're not talking about like, see, this is
Well, see, but
sorry,
that's-
I'm not arguing
Yeah,
with you.
no, yeah,
This is
welcome,
the
yeah.
problem with, it's lingo, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's using kind of different words to describe
And
different
you've
things.
heard people come up
Yep.
here and use
Yep.
the same word to mean different things.
Mhm.
So
Mr.
there's-
Bowers had a question,
yeah.
so we all need to know.
So electric foot scooters is not what you're talking about. That doesn't, that's where a stand-up
So
scooter.
let's keep,
sorry.
and if you're
I'm
not
sorry.
at a microphone, please do
I
not
apologize.
speak.
I apologize.
How about to maintain order? Yeah, how about to maintain order? Is it possible to maybe have this conversation offline? And then you can follow up with information for both the testifier and also provide that to
Could I just
council?
provide this input? So
Yes.
my questions come from the community.
Yes,
I'm-
absolutely.
And the reason I'm asking these questions is because I don't want confusion. I ride the
Yes.
trails daily. I ride thousands of miles a year, pedal bike, e-bike,
Mhm.
and I see everything bad that happens.
Mhm.
And if I want to confront someone, I want to be in the right.
Mhm.
And if there's a parent there, I want to educate a parent. So that's why I want very specific clarification.
Absolutely.
And that's why I came down here today. So
Absolutely.
I don't want to go back and forth. That's my feedback is the more specific you can be,
Mhm.
the more it's going to help our community.
Absolutely. And we appreciate the questions. We appreciate you coming down. Councilwoman Washington?
Thank you, Chair Weber. I think for clarification, could we make certain that when we're defining these and you're having an offline conversation, that we have a real clarity about the e-scooters that we have in our community? Because as I remember, I don't know if I'm correct, we had classified them as a motor vehicle. And so I think that there also may be some questions about the scooters that you can rent for a short time and whether or not those are legal on trails.
Okay, and so I may properly answer the question. Are you talking about the Lime scooters? Okay, the electric foot scooter. Okay, I just want to make sure that is what you're talking about. I think this gentleman's talking about something a little different, whether it be kind of like a Vespa type
It would be both.
situation or something like that.
If we could get both that clarification as well as the foot peg scooters or motos as they were described.
Councilman?
We see them everywhere.
Yeah,
So
Councilman
thank you. I do
Duden?
appreciate what
I think what would help us and the public would be some illustrations that go along with some of these definitions.
I
I absolutely agree. Oftentimes we get questions from law enforcement with either a description or a picture, and they say, "What is this?
Yeah.
What is this? How do we deal with it?" And you kind of go back to the definitions and you
Yes.
go, "I think it's this because of X, Y, Z."
Yep.
Right? So,
Just a suggestion.
yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I agree. I think with the educational component for people like me that don't necessarily know all the differences.
No, I agree.
If there is a way to visually distinguish them, that would be helpful for me on an educational side.
Tom, do you know what a wheelie is?
Like the action?
Before that goes downhill, is there any other discussion or questions from council? Thank you to everyone from the public who testified. Thank you, City Law, for presenting. Let's keep the conversation going in between the voting session. Thank you, or before the voting session. Thank you. Thank you. Alrighty.
Pens are valuable.
Madam Clerk, seeing no one else from the public come forward, we may proceed.
I'll call item 6P, Annexation 26002, ordinance to correct legal description of annexation of approximately 39 acres generally located southeast of the intersection of South 84th Street and South Street, approved on July 27th, 2026.
Welcome, Ms. Luttrell.
Good evening, Abby Luttrell, City Law Department, and this should be a short one. This should seem familiar to you. This is an annexation about 84th and South Street, was before you a few weeks ago, went through all three readings. When we had the ordinance signed by the mayor, discovered that the legal description was not quite right. And so our friends in the mapping department with the county assessor can get our maps changed correctly. All that this ordinance does is make sure that it matches exactly what was before you. This map was before you, and now the legal description matches that. Because the developer is anxious to get moving on developing this property, we are requesting that you suspend normal rules and vote on this today instead of waiting until the third hearing. But this has been on your agenda 2 times as introduction, and now 2 times as public hearing, and now is the second time there's been a public hearing. So there has been ample public notice about this matter.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Luttrell. Let's see if there's anyone else from the, or you have a question? Yep,
Yeah.
Councilman Beckius.
Ms. Luttrell, just so folks out there who are watching are aware, we're not talking about the annexation itself. That has been approved. We're talking about the correction to the legal description that was included in the already approved annexation.
Correct. It's the language within the ordinance that needs to be filed with the Register of Deeds. So yes, the action that you took with that map before you, with all of that property, now the legal description in the ordinance matches that.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Chair.
Yep. Any other questions for Ms. Luttrell? Alrighty. Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this item? If so, please come forward now. Seeing no one from the public come forward, Councilman Beckius, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair Weber. I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules and vote immediately on this annexation 26002 with the correct legal description.
Second.
Seconded by Washington. Any discussion on the motion to waive the council rules to vote immediately? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the motion to suspend the rules.
Beckius,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0.
And now the main motion. Any discussion?
I don't know that I moved that. I'll
Oh,
move,
okay.
I will move item 26-89.
Moved by Beckius.
Second.
Seconded by Washington. Now, any discussion on the main motion? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Beckius,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Okay, that concludes section 6 of our agenda. Section 7 is resolutions first readings are items 7A and 7B. Section 8 is ordinances first reading and related resolution is item 8A. Our pending list date certain are items 9A through 9R. And our pending list are items 10A through 10D.
Alrighty. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Anyone wishing to address the council on a matter not on this agenda and not planned to appear on a future agenda may do so at the open microphone session. Individuals are allowed a total of 5 minutes to speak regardless of the number of topics. For the month of August, open microphone sessions will be held on August 10th and August 31st, 2026. Tonight is August 10th, so we will have public comment. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak? If so, now would be your opportunity to do so. Welcome back, Mr. Way.
This is why I came down here. I didn't know about the airport thing, and you know me in the airport. So, real briefly, I'm not Robert Way, address in the record. I'm not going to take a lot of your time, and I'm not even going to talk about it because I think all you are familiar with it or will be shortly because it's becoming everywhere. There's a new concern in the community, which I've noticed over the last couple of months, about these automated cameras. Now, there's no way the Lincoln City Council is going to fix automated cameras. It's a national issue, and it's where that data goes and how we incorporate that as a useful thing as opposed to some places there's reports that it's being abused just like any other tool. You put it in the right person's hands, it's good. You put it in the wrong person's hands, it's bad. So what I hope, and I came down here to encourage you to do, is we just saw, in my opinion, a brilliant moment of Lincoln community. We had a concern, and a bunch of people came together and they started talking about it. And even though people had different opinions, there was a sense that, hey, we'll all work together. I think now might be the moment to start the conversation about these cameras with this, because we don't want to get to the point where we've had in other towns where people are angry. And then people tend to pass reactive laws as opposed to understanding this is a complex issue. So I also think it's quite possible that this issue is going to be quite prevalent when we get to the spring. I think it's something people care about. From my limited knowledge, and I don't know if this is true, the city currently does not have any contracts with these companies. There are a few private individuals, but things that have been mentioned, and there's a discussion group you might be familiar with where this is the discussion. I'll talk to you about it offline. If you'd like, maybe we want to make sure that we're not only installing them, are we accessing them? Normally, when law enforcement officers access a certain tool, there's a reporting, and that reporting is public. So sometimes when you get a new tool, you have to set rules. Law enforcement, in my opinion, just my opinion, has done a good job using cameras and media collection devices to increase people's faith in the system with like body cameras. But I don't think as fast as this technology is moving, because this company actually only started a few years ago, and now it's in thousands and thousands of cities. We can wait till it's a crisis to act. I think we're going to get behind the 8 ball, and then that's not going to help us out at all. So I think just looking at your faces, you probably heard about these things too. It's on your mind. I just would encourage you to be proactive.
Thank you.
Here's a little bit of data.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else from the public wishing to speak? If so, please come forward now. Anyone else?
Chair Weber, seeing no one else come forward, I would move adjournment.
Second it.
Moved by Beckius, seconded by Duden. Any discussion on adjournment? Seeing no discussion on adjournment, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Duden?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Carlson?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0.
We are adjourned.